Hello, I'm Carin Smaller from the International Institute for Sustainable Development, and I'm pleased to be with you today. You're going to see a great report about how we can move to more sustainable and healthy diets here in Europe, how we can reduce greenhouse gas emissions in agriculture, particularly the livestock sector, how we can eat less meat through more plant-based proteins, and how we can reduce waste. But what I want to talk to you about is how technology could help. But first, I want to talk to you about hunger. Because while our attention in Europe is about how we can eat better, be more healthy, and more ecological, in the poorest countries, millions of people are struggling to just get enough food to feed themselves and their families. And COVID-19 has made this hunger crisis so much worse. Even before COVID, hunger numbers have been rising for 5 years in a row, with almost 700 million people going to bed hungry every night. That's around 1 in 10 people. The projections from the FAO, the UN's Food and Agriculture Organization, show that up to 135 million more people could become hungry as a result of COVID-19. If our worst fears are realized, this will take us back to levels of hunger not seen for more than 50 years. That's before most of us were born. The main drivers for the recent rise in hunger are economic slowdowns or recessions, particularly from COVID, climate change, and war. To bring us back to the topic of today's report, I'm going to focus on the driver of climate change. Because if we do not solve climate change, we cannot solve hunger. The increasing severity and frequency of droughts, floods, and other extreme weather events as a result of climate change represents a major threat to the poor and hungry. So what's the answer? Well, it's not about a new generation of seeds or fertilizers or pesticides. But I think part of the answer may lie in a technology revolution. And 3 technologies in particular could be transformative: solar panels, batteries, and computer chips. These 3 technologies may provide some of the answers to reduce both the environmental footprint of agriculture, while at the same time enhancing the business of agriculture for the poor. They're not new, they've been around for decades, but they've been largely inaccessible and unaffordable for the poor. So what's changed? Prices. The sharp decline in prices of these 3 technologies opens up massive opportunities. In the past decade, the cost of solar power has fallen by almost 90%, and the cost of lithium batteries, like the ones used in electric vehicles, has also fallen by almost 90%. Computer power. The relative price of processing information has declined by 96% in 50 years. These drastic cost decreases open up the possibility for stable, secure, and cheap energy anywhere in the world. Think about poor, remote rural areas that will no longer need to wait for electricity to come to them through big infrastructure investments and big centralized energy systems, but that could use these cheap, decentralized energy sources to power irrigation systems, to use water more efficiently, to power storage facilities, refrigeration, and automation to reduce waste, and for remote sensors Cell phones, for example, are being used to engage citizens in real-time monitoring of water supply and quality. A company in Tanzania, for example, has developed a really simple soil moisture sensor which helps farmers detect when and when not to irrigate using LED signals, so we don't waste so much water. And in Cuba, Mexico, Peru, Senegal, Venezuela, and Zimbabwe, a simplified version of soil-free and indoor agriculture is being tested, which means we can use less land to produce the food we need to feed ourselves. But while I'm excited about these new technologies, I also know that technology does not operate in a vacuum. There are extreme economic and power dynamics linked to technology. Unequal power relations between the rich who own the technology and the poor who need to buy it, and that this fuels hunger in the first place. It's important to know how we deal with who controls the patents on these technologies. Who controls the information that is gathered when we use this improved computer power? And indeed, technology tends to be biased in favor of capital and skilled labor, and is therefore unevenly distributed between rich and poor, often making inequality worse. Plus, as you'll see in the report today, tensions remain between large and small-scale agriculture, between industrial and ecological systems of production, and between food availability and food waste. How, where, and by whom these technologies will be used will determine if they can truly help in the fight against hunger and climate change. Thank you.